Okay, here's another video from the Otaku Bench for tonight. This is, of course, the Broadway Limited Imports T1 Pennsylvania Railroad locomotive 4444. Very odd wheel arrangement. It's good for pulling a lot of the various PRR passenger cars out there from Centralia. Bachmann's coming out with some. There is, of course, BLI cars, kind of at the very end of the age of steam and fast passenger service. But I think all of us in N-scale want to get ourselves onto the legendary S-1. S-1 is a bigger locomotive. It's a 6444. So that's the shell that's printed by Track 29. It's his design. A couple of guys have built it, and I've sought out some advice from guys like Ernie, Julian, on how to build this. Now, this one, I kind of challenged myself to build it as a de-skirted S1. Streamline looks cool, but an N scale can look kind of toy-like as well. And hiding all that valve gear is no good. So that's the locomotive. Here's the print of the tender. So it's a significantly larger locomotive. The original tender, just for reference, is there. And to throw away a perfectly good T1 locomotive, you have to take the shells off and everything and start hacking away. But that gives you kind of a size comparison of S1 versus a T1. So this shell is made to drop on essentially onto the existing T1 chassis, but if you want to, you would need to do a couple of modifications to make it a little more prototypical, right? And so this is my chassis right now. The 3D print comes out with a 6-wheel firebox tender compared to the original T1 trailing truck. And it comes with a print of a 6 truck in the front. Mounting this 6 truck is a little challenging because you got to get the wheels in, and 3D prints do on occasion start warping with age and they snap easily. So I opted to take a Kato Union Pacific water tender truck with nice free rolling Kato wheels and just popping it in. That way I can have a lead truck on these custom drawbars. Try to sneak that in. And that's your 6446 wheel configuration. That's the original drawbar and front pilot truck. So now you could drop the shell directly onto the model as is. It'll fit. There's a little trimming and stuff that you need to do, but one of the things that is more prototypical, and Robert points this out from the models, the T1 versus the S1, the front steam chest location is a little bit different. If you look at the T1, it's gapped out a little bit, like the distance from the steam chest to the front pilot and the valve gear. There's a little bit of space over there. So you got to take this all apart and kind of trim things down to get yourself into a much closer position. And that will line up with the shell that drops right on there. So as a partially de-skirted model, I would drop it right there. And it's not bad. It's a good start. But since I'm glutton for punishment, and you know, the BLI shells are made of metal, so you lose a lot amount of weight in this. So I took my old T1 shell and chassis. I kept the fireboxes because the fireboxes it's close to what the S1 looked like. You know, hack off the cab from the top. And of course the shell and all that comes out. And so now this, with all the grinding, taking all the tops off, hacking out the areas above the firebox, trimming the backs of the frame, and trimming some of the front of the frame will allow you to essentially drop this in, and gives you a, if you trim around the shell and the 3D resin, you'll get a pretty nice tight fit, and it's all hidden in there. And that gives you something solid to clip that metal weight onto the actual mechanism. And so I would hook the shell around the front of the nose, slide it backwards because it goes below the boiler casting, and drop in, oh, let me get my alignments right. Kind of hard to do with that camera tripod. There we go. So that's kind of the ballpark alignment and fit. The front truck will butt up against the front steam chest. The frame's hidden there, do a little bit of touch up. Custom drawbar for the rear truck so it fits and pivots. And that brings us to the tender. Now the tender uses the BLI tender, but you do need to do an extension. So I hacked it apart right here in the middle, and did some screws and all that, so that now you'll put in a piece of brass about a little shy of ½ an inch wide right there, if you can see that. And that'll extend the tender to the length of the new shell. So that'll drop in the decoder, redo all the wirings, and hopefully this will be up and running. Pinstriping and decaling is going to be challenging, but it's streamlined, and you just got to be careful to kind of clean out all those 3D print lines. I've done 2 or 3 times on this model already, just cleaning it out, scraping, repriming, sanding, trying to get all those marks out to make it look proper, taking down some of the thicker details to make it look more N-scale-ish. So yeah, and I've seen pictures from models that Ernie Julian made, that you know, he's done all the brass handrails and everything in the back. That's just beautifully done. So anyway, for those who don't want to go buy a brass S-1, and they're very, very rare, around $2,000 ish. This is something, I'm not really a PRR guy, so I thought it's just a fun model to build. And Robert and Ernie, the guys who do the 3D printing and the modeling, have been really supportive. Just to give you a look underneath what it looks like, oh boy, and that's a custom drawbar on the rear. So I used the brass extension and used the original drawbar for the rear truck, but I did some drilling in the mounting for this new 6-wheel trailing truck. And as you can clearly see, I'm going to use brass, strip of brass isolated from the frame, and just kind of use that as a spring to keep the front nose down. These locomotives are notorious for, in my opinion, poor pickup. Most BLIs don't have a lot of suspension articulation, and of course the Paragon, the decoders, don't have provisions for keep alive capacitors. So that's the plan. I'll put a super cap in this, and put a Tsunami sound decoder in here, and hopefully it'll run smoother and better than the original T1, which is not bad. It does run, but it's only got so many pickup wheels and vertical curves it doesn't like, and certain you know, flat curves it doesn't like. So anyway, that's the other project that's going on. A lot of unfinished projects from the Otaku Bench. That's it, till next time.